Lieutenant Marcus Hale, the ship's xenobiologist, was the first to notice it. While collecting samples from a cluster of quartz-like towers, he felt vibrations travel up his gloves, as though the stone itself had a heartbeat. He pressed his ear to the crystalline wall and heard faint words, whispered in a language he could not understand. At first, he kept it to himself, assuming fatigue was distorting his senses. The rest of the crew had no interest in chasing phantoms. They were focused on gathering data for the Union Science Directorate. But the whispers returned every day. Sometimes they echoed like distant singing. Sometimes they sighed like the last breath of a dying animal. And then he saw her. Through the transparent surface of a shard 3 meters high, a shadow moved. Slender, with elongated limbs and a crown of bioluminescent tendrils, the figure turned her head toward him. Her eyes, enormous and luminous, fixed on his face. Marcus stumbled back, his heart hammering, but when he blinked, the shadow was gone. He reported it to Commander Yara Ven, the mission leader, who dismissed it as stress. Yet Marcus couldn't let go. The figure had looked too real, too conscious. That night, unable to sleep, Marcus returned alone to the crystalline grove. He whispered into the silence, "If someone is here, show yourself." And she did. The crystal in front of him shimmered, folding outward like water disturbed by a stone. From its depths emerged the being. She was tall, her frame delicate yet alien, her skin a pearlescent gray that shifted colors under the starlight. Her luminous eyes widened with fear and awe, as if she hadn't meant to be seen. Marcus froze. She stepped back, clutching her arms over her chest as though ashamed. Then, in a voice trembling like wind through chimes, she whispered words in broken translation. "Do not look. Bully. I am ugly." And she vanished into the crystals again, leaving Marcus breathless. The middle, a hidden world. Marcus became obsessed. He researched the crystals and discovered they weren't simple minerals. They were neural conduits, a vast lattice beneath Kevra 7's surface. The being, whoever she was, lived within them or was part of them. Somehow, the planet itself sheltered her. He began leaving small gifts near the grove. Ration bars, woven fibers, even sketches he drew in his notebook. Sometimes the gifts vanished. Sometimes he found marks etched into the crystal in return. Symbols he didn't understand, yet recognized as communication. Weeks passed before she revealed herself fully again. This time she emerged slowly, her body trembling as though fighting against instinct. Marcus raised his hands to show peace. "I'm Marcus," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." Her voice, fragile but clearer than before, answered, "Anar, I hide." He tilted his head. "Hide from what?" Her gaze lowered. "From all. From mice. 'Cause I unworthy. Because I am ugly." Marcus felt his chest tighten. She was unlike any being he had ever seen, yet nothing about her seemed ugly. Her skin shimmered with iridescence. Her tendrils glowed with living light. Her eyes carried entire galaxies in their depths. But she flinched whenever his eyes lingered. She would fold inward, wrapping herself in her glowing arms, shaking. It became clear. Honoree's people were gone, lost to time, and she alone remained, carrying scars of a memory too painful to bear. Perhaps she had been told she was hideous, or perhaps she had believed it all her life. One evening, as the twin moons cast silver light across the grove, Marcus asked gently, "Why do you think you're ugly, Anar?" She hesitated, her eyes reflecting sadness. "Others gone. Long ago," I said. "I am twisted, different, not shining as them. When they left, I hid. The crystals take me in. I live in shadow. No one sees. Marcus stepped closer, though careful not to touch. Anar, he whispered. You're beautiful. Her entire body jolted. The tendrils on her head flared with startled light, casting prismatic rays across the crystals. She stared at him as though struck by lightning. No, she stammered, retreating. You mock. I mean it, Marcus insisted. His voice shook, but his eyes never left hers. You are unlike anyone I've ever met. You're extraordinary. Do you understand? Beautiful. Honoree's hands trembled. Her gaze darted to the ground, then back to him, as if she couldn't comprehend the word applied to her. No one had ever spoken it. To her, it was an impossible thing, a dream not meant for her ears. She fled again into the crystal lattice, but not before Marcus saw something new on her face. Not fear this time, but confusion and hope. The shift between worlds. Over the following days, Honoree's appearances grew more frequent. She would materialize halfway, her form wavering between light and substance, asking him cautious questions. Why do you say this? Beautiful. Because it's true, Marcus replied. But I am wrong shape. My glow weak. My kind said so. Then they were wrong. Her luminous eyes searched his face, trying to detect deceit, but Marcus's sincerity never wavered. Slowly, she began to open up. She spoke of the lost Kavari, her people, who once thrived across the crystalline network. They had been beings of radiant light, harmonized with the crystals. But Anar had been born dimmer, her glow stuttering, her form not perfectly symmetrical like theirs. The Kavari prized harmony and flawless brilliance, and she, the flawed one, became their outcast. When a cosmic storm swept through Kevera 7 centuries ago, destroying most of her people, Anar hid in the lattice. She survived, but she carried with her the voices that had called her unworthy. Over time, she began to believe she was a curse, undeserving of sight. Marcus listened to her stories with quiet reverence, and each time she faltered, he reminded her, You endured. You're stronger than any of them. That's beauty. Anar began to smile. Tentative, fragile, but real. Her tendrils glowed brighter, casting colors the crystals hadn't reflected in ages. She showed Marcus wonders hidden beneath the surface, entire caverns of living crystal that resonated with their voices, glowing rivers of energy flowing through the planet's veins, and archives of her people's memories etched into crystalline walls. Yet, even as she blossomed, a shadow loomed. Commander Yara had grown suspicious of Marcus's excursions. When she followed him one night and saw Anar for herself, her reaction was not awe but alarm. This thing is dangerous, Yara said coldly. It's been hiding for a reason. We can't trust it. Marcus argued fiercely, but Yara was unmoved. The Directorate valued results, not sentiment. They wanted samples, not friendships with spectral aliens. Orders came to extract part of the lattice for study, an act that would shatter Honoree's sanctuary. When Marcus told her, Anar recoiled, panic blazing in her glowing eyes. They will break me. I vanish if lattice breaks. Marcus's throat tightened. To harm the crystals was to harm her. I won't let them, he swore. I'll protect you. The climax. Choosing light the day of extraction came. The crew prepared drilling equipment, unaware that Marcus had sabotaged the process. He redirected the power cells, delaying them. But Yara wasn't fooled for long. When she caught Marcus stalling, she drew her sidearm. Step aside, Hale, she ordered. Before Marcus could respond, the crystals ignited. Anar emerged in full form, radiant and towering, her body glowing brighter than ever before. The entire grove vibrated, singing with her energy. Stop! Her voice rang, not just through sound but through every crystal around them. The ground trembled. Shards of light lanced through the air, forcing the crew back. Yara raised her weapon. Marcus leapt between them. "No. If you harm her, you destroy everything we came here to learn. She is the lattice, she is Kevera 7. The crew hesitated. The crystals pulsed in agreement, their light resonating with Honoree's form. She looked at Marcus, fear and strength warring in her eyes. He whispered, "Show them who you are. Show them your beauty." Honor closed her eyes, and her glow surged. Images filled the crystals. Visions of her people, of harmony and music, of a world once alive with radiant beings. Then came the storm, the destruction, the loneliness of being the last. Her pain was laid bare, but so too was her resilience. The crew stood in silence, awestruck. Even Yara lowered her weapon, her expression softening. When the vision faded, Honoree's light dimmed, and she collapsed to her knees. Marcus rushed to her side, catching her fragile frame. "See," he whispered, tears in his eyes. "You're not ugly. You're magnificent." Her gaze lifted to his, shimmering with something new. Acceptance. The ending. A new dawn. The Directorate abandoned their plan to harvest the crystals. They could not deny Honoree's sentience, nor the living history she embodied. Instead, the Odyssey Dawn became the first vessel to establish a sanctuary treaty with a single being. Marcus stayed on Kevera 7 as the liaison by choice. He spent his days learning Honoree's language, her culture, her songs. And she, no longer hiding, began to step fully into the world again. Her glow grew steadier with each passing week, fueled not by perfection, but by belief, by knowing that someone saw her differently. One evening, as they walked through the grove bathed in starlight, Honor touched Marcus's hand for the first time. "Marcus, when you said beautiful," she whispered, "I did not believe. I begin to see." He smiled, his heart aching with warmth. "Good. Because it was always true." And for the first time in her long, lonely existence, Honor smiled without fear, her light blazing bright enough to illuminate the sky.